Okay, so I have to ask, uh, have you opened your phone at all this morning?
Yeah,
Because I feel like I am completely losing my mind here.
I have. And I think I know exactly what you're talking about. Is it the big heads?
It is the big heads.
Yeah.
It's this whole caricature trend that it just exploded overnight. I open my feed and suddenly all my friends, I mean, people I know, serious people with serious jobs, are turning themselves into these digital cartoons.
Right, with the giant eyes and tiny bodies.
Exactly. Exaggerated chins, the whole thing. It is wall to wall.
It really is taking over. And honestly, I kind of get the appeal. It's colorful, it's silly.
Yeah.
It feels like this moment where the internet collectively decided, you know what? Let's just stop taking ourselves so seriously for 24 hours.
Right, right. And on the surface, it feels like just harmless fun.
Yeah.
A little bit of creativity to break up the doom scrolling we all do.
Yeah.
But, and, there is always but when we do these deep dives,
So,
I stumbled across a piece of writing today that actually stopped me mid-scroll.
mm-hmm.
It took this goofy trend and pivoted to something so deep, I literally had to put my phone down and just stare at the wall for a minute.
I love when that happens. You're talking about the blog post by Jimmy Perez, right?
Yes. It
Yeah.
was published just today, actually, February 20, 2026. The title is On the Caricature Trend, Vanity versus Self-Love.
Mm-hmm.
And Perez, he calls himself a thought provoker, which usually makes me roll my eyes a bit.
Yeah, a little bit pretentious sometimes.
Right. But in this case, he actually delivers. He looks at this trend and asks a really uncomfortable question.
Yeah.
He asks if this is just creativity or if it's a veil.
That is the hook right there, a veil. Because usually we think of a caricature as an exaggeration. Right?
Yeah.
If you go to a theme park and get one drawn, the artist makes your nose huge, your ears massive. But Perez argues that in this digital context, these filters and avatars are actually serving to soften us.
Wow.
They are a way to hide the reality of a human face behind a digital mask.
So that is our mission for this deep dive today. We're going to unpack Perez's argument about the difference between vanity and genuine self-love, because he says they are practically opposites. And we're going to explore this idea that maybe we are using these trends to hide the evidence of having lived.
And that concept of evidence is exactly where we need to start. Because it's a really profound shift in perspective from how we usually talk about aging or appearance.
Let's get into that. Because I'll be honest, when I look in the mirror and I see a new line on my forehead or I see the texture of my skin changing, my brain does not say evidence.
No.
My brain screams flaw. I think most of us are wired to see those things as bugs in the system, not features.
Yeah.
We see something that needs to be fixed or covered up.
Completely. We are conditioned to see a defect. But Perez lists these specific things. He talks about scars, wrinkles, uneven skin tones, those silver strands of hair that start popping up.
The gray.
The grays, yeah. And he absolutely refuses to call them flaws. He calls them evidence.
I really got stuck on that word when I was reading evidence.
It's crucial. Because if you have evidence, you have proof of something. And Perez asks, what is this proof of? It isn't proof that you're just letting yourself go.
Right.
It is proof that you have endured. It's proof that you have laughed, that you have grieved, and that you have grown.
I really love that reframing. It changes a wrinkle from being a sign of decay to being a receipt for an experience. Like, I earned this crow's foot from laughing too hard at my best friend's wedding.
Yes.
Or I earned this furrowed brow getting through the absolute hardest year of my career.
Precisely. It's the geology of the face.
Oh, I like that.
Think about a canyon or a mountain range. The layers and lines tell the history of the earth. Perez is saying our faces are exactly the same. If you erase the lines, you are essentially deleting the history.
You're presenting a blank page.
Presenting a blank page where a story used to be.
But the trend, and let's be real here, it's not just this caricature thing today. It's filters, it's airbrushing, it's ring lights. The whole ecosystem is designed to smooth that geology out, to make it look like nothing ever happened to us. And Perez suggests that if our impulse is to hide these traits, to put on the veil, as he calls it, we really have to ask ourselves why.
He says it is an invitation to look inward. Because if we feel shame about the signs of living, that's not a physical problem, that's an internal one.
Which brings us to the elephant in the room, I think. Other people.
Yes.
Because a huge reason we hide this stuff is fear. We're afraid someone else is going to judge it. We're afraid of the nasty comment. The internet isn't exactly known for its nuance when it comes to appearance.
No, it can be a brutal place. And Perez tackles it head-on with a phrase we've all heard a million times, but he applies it really specifically here. Hurt people, hurt people.
Yeah. I feel like we say that a lot, almost like a cliche to brush off bad behavior.
Yeah.
But what does it actually look like in this context?
Well, think about online criticism. When someone leaves a cruel comment about someone's appearance, about their age or their weight or their tired eyes, Perez argues that this cruelty reveals woundedness, not superiority. It reflects the critic's pain, not the subject's worth.
So the troll isn't powerful, the troll is just hurting.
Exactly. It's a diagnostic of their own internal state. But here is the trap, and this is a real aha moment for me in his writing. He says that while it is totally human to appreciate kindness,
I mean, we all like a compliment.
of course we do, but we get into dangerous territory when approval becomes a requirement.
Oof. Approval is a requirement. That hits home. It's the difference between, oh, nice, someone liked my photo, and I need this photo to get likes or I'll feel terrible about my day.
That is the threshold right there. That's the signal that you're out of balance. Perez says that when criticism feels unbearable, it means you have outsourced your equilibrium.
Outsourced your equilibrium. Wow.
You are investing in the opinions of others, people who, as we just established, are likely just projecting their own pain.
You're letting wounded strangers dictate your self-worth.
Exactly. And Perez argues that if you are secure in your evidence, if you own your history in your face, then the opinions of someone else won't shatter you. It's an inside job.
This connects really well to Perez's own story, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because he admits in the post that he wasn't always this zen about it. He didn't just wake up one day fully enlightened.
No, not at all. He shares that for years he actually hesitated to share photos of himself. And interestingly, his fear wasn't just about looking bad, it was about appearing vain.
Well,
He worried that posting a photo would look self-important.
I think a lot of people struggle with that, actually, that voice in your head going, who do you think you are? Why does the world need to see my face today?
Right. But he says age softened that fear. And this is a really beautiful line from the source. Time has stripped away the illusion of perfection.
The illusion of perfection. That is such a strong phrase.
It is, because once that illusion is gone, you are left with the truth. Perez makes a sharp distinction between presenting a curated image and presenting a person.
Let's break that down a bit, because I think we all do a bit of both. What's the fundamental difference there?
A curated image is the grooming, the angles, the performance. It's the specific smile you practiced in the mirror to hide a crooked tooth.
Guilty. We all are. It's an assembly of parts designed to please an audience. A person, on the other hand, is the truth. It includes the lines, the marks, the changes, the reality of you.
So it's the difference between performance and presence.
Yes. He says what he shares now feels less like a performance and more like presence. He's just showing up as he is.
He actually has this challenge in the text. It's practically a mirror test. He asks, when we stand before the mirror, are we expressing who we are or avoiding who we fear we might be?
It is a highly confronting question. Are we negotiating with our insecurity? Because if we are constantly trying to fix or hide or filter, we are in a constant negotiation with fear.
Yeah.
Perez suggests that peace only comes when we stop that negotiation entirely, when we shift our energy from perfecting the image to accepting the person.
And he calls that raw, unfiltered self-acceptance. He says that is the doorway to genuine self-love.
And this is where the deep dive takes a hard turn. Because I think people often confuse self-love with self-indulgence or just feeling good.
Like treating yourself. Right. We think self-love is buying the shoes or eating the cake. But Perez takes this concept of accepting your aging face and bridges it to something much more active. Stewardship.
Stewardship. Now, that's a word I usually hear in relation to my finances or maybe environmental conservation. I am the steward of this forest. How does he apply that to the human body?
Well, the logic flows like this. If you believe your body, mind, and face are gifts, and Perez treats them as sacred gifts, then the only reasonable response is gratitude.
Okay.
But gratitude isn't just saying thank you. Gratitude is care.
Okay, let's really unpack this because this is my favorite part of the source material. He uses this analogy of a vessel.
We cannot pour from a vessel we despise.
That is so powerful. If I hate the container in my body, I'm not going to take care of it. Why would I? It's like owning a car you hate. You're not going to wax it. You're just going to drive it into the ground until it quits.
Exactly. If you despise the vessel, you neglect it. And if you neglect it, you cannot serve anyone else. And he makes this incredibly concrete with a story about his family. He mentioned sharing this realization with his wife that caring for themselves wasn't just for them, it was for their children.
This part really stuck with me. He brings up the parenting perspective. He says that when parents neglect their health, the children carry the burden of worry.
which is an incredibly heavy burden. If you have ever had to worry about a parent's health because they simply wouldn't take care of themselves, you know that fear.
It's all-consuming.
It dominates your life. Perez argues that self-care is an act of love toward your family because it liberates them from that fear.
That reframes the whole thing.
Yeah.
So eating right and moving your body isn't about fitting into skinny jeans or looking hot for summer. It's about making sure your kids don't have to panic about your heart health.
Exactly. It isn't vanity at all. It's consideration. And this is where he draws a hard line between vanity and stewardship. Because on the outside, they might look exactly the same.
Right.
Two people might both be at the gym. Two people might both be eating a salad. But the motivation is totally different.
Let's define those clearly because I think the lines get blurred a lot in our culture. What is vanity in Perez's view?
Vanity, or self-indulgence, often involves chasing external solutions to fix internal problems. Perez talks about flooding the body with toxins, which could mean bad food, or it could mean aggressive cosmetic procedures to repair the strain we have put on ourselves.
It's reactive.
Very reactive. It's all about the image.
Whereas stewardship.
Stewardship is nourishing food, movement, rest, and restraint. It's not punishment. It is the maintenance of a miraculous machine. He points out that this physical life, the ability to breathe and experience the world, is a miracle.
Yeah.
Treating it like a trash can isn't freedom, it's ingratitude.
It is interesting. He does bring a religious context into this as well. He views the body as something to be honored because of the one who gave it.
He does. He frames it as honoring the creator. And I think whether you share that specific faith perspective or not, the structural argument still holds up perfectly.
Oh, yeah.
If you view something as loaned to you or entrusted to you, you treat it with way more respect than if you view it as just a disposable shell that you happen to own.
It changes the definition of self-love completely. We usually see self-love hashtags on photos of bubble baths or cheat meals.
Yeah.
But Praise says true self-love is, well, it sounds kind of strict, honestly.
It is disciplined. He lists the components very clearly. Discipline, restraint, compassion toward oneself, and consistent care. He calls self-love a quiet agreement with life.
A quiet agreement with life. That is so much deeper than hashtag treat yourself.
It really is. It is not loud. It is not performative. It's not about shouting from the rooftops that you love your curves or your gray hair. It's about quietly doing the work to ensure the vessel lasts so you can do the important work.
And what is that important work, in his view?
Well, in Perez's context, it is loving God and loving your neighbor. He argues that you cannot fulfill those high callings effectively if the equipment your body is broken due to neglect.
You need the vessel to be intact to pour out the love.
Exactly. You have to learn to care for yourself as essential preparation for those higher callings.
So we started with goofy caricatures on the internet. We started with big heads and tiny bodies and exaggerated features. And we've ended up at moral responsibility, mortality, and stewardship.
That is the beauty of this piece of writing. The caricature is just the symptom. It's the hook that gets you in. The diagnosis is really about how we relate to our own mortality and our own inherent value.
It really makes you think about what we are actually doing when we swipe on a filter. It's not just fixing the lighting, it's erasing the history.
And that history is your life. Why would you ever want to delete the proof that you were here?
So what does this all mean for us right now, holding our phones, for the person listening on their commute or at the gym?
I think it means we need to practice that mirror test Perez mentioned. Next time you look in the mirror or next time you are about to post a photo online, just pause, just for a second. Ask yourself, am I trying to present a person or a curated image? Am I hiding the evidence or am I owning it?
And if you catch yourself trying to hide it,
Remind yourself that the flaw you were looking at is just proof you survived. It's the receipt. Keep it.
we have covered a lot of ground today. From the silly trend of turning ourselves into cartoons to the deep philosophy of why we are so fundamentally afraid of our own faces.
It's a powerful reminder that true self-acceptance isn't about thinking you are perfect. It is about realizing that perfect isn't the goal. Being present is.
And taking care of that presence so it can stick around for the people who love you.
That is the key right there.
Before we go, I want to leave you with a thought. We talked about wrinkles and scars as evidence of survival and joy. But let's push that a step further. If you are currently curating your life online or offline, what part of your own history are you currently trying to erase from your public image? And more importantly, who would benefit if you stopped hiding it? Maybe someone else needs to see your evidence to feel okay about their own.
That is a very powerful thought to end on.
Thanks for diving deep with us today. We'll see you next time.